It is the 41st millennium. Mankind battles for survival across the universe, besieged on all fronts by the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. One faction of Space Marines stands amidst the chaos, the mightiest of the Emperor's warriors, and a beacon of light in the darkness. This legion, the 9th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Blood Angels. Oh, hello guys. Hello. What's happened here? What has happened? There we go. Cool. Good evening. Welcome to the Army List show. It'll be an interesting show because we got some. That's not what we're doing today. We got some. People have started submitting lists for the new detachments. So I think we've got one tonight on the Firestorm, but it is cool to see lists coming in. One came in yesterday, called Iron Angels, I believe. So that's like an Iron Hands Blood Angels list. I was thinking I might break that down in a tactics video this week to see what Iron Angels looks like. But good evening. Thanks for being here. We've got a few lists to talk over, as always, on a Sunday night. If you do enjoy the stream, please leave us a like. This is our new time on Sunday. It's a little bit earlier. 8:30 UK time, give or take. And I don't know if some of you guys caught the stream yesterday. I have finally started building my jump intercessors. I was going to say, what are they called? Primaris jump intercessors? No, they're just called jump intercessors. I finally started building them. I gave this guy a beak head because I actually think these guys, I as much as I complained about these models, I actually think they genuinely look very cool. I'm not so keen on tactical rocks, but overall, I think that the models themselves, there's not much difference between them and assault intercessors, honestly, but for some reason these guys just seem cooler. Maybe it's just the size of the jump packs. Maybe it's because they finally put the jump packs far enough away from their shoulder pads, so you can put those sort of bigger lapel shoulders on them without having to like worry and cut things. I don't know exactly why, but I do actually really like them. Okay. Espinal got robbed in a tournament yesterday, but the army performed well. Deadpool over on Twitch just started his as well. Cool. And Crispy Delicious, what's that? And dude, okay. The first list we've got is by Reziol. I saw him in the chat a minute ago, so hopefully he'll have 2 cents to give us as we break this down. I was going to say I'm going to pick up my new codex. Not entirely sure if I'll need the new codex, but it doesn't hurt to have it in front of me, or at least beside me in case I need it. Okay. Right. Judiciar with Artisan of War. It gives them a 2-up save and gives them 1 additional point of AP, the Artisan of War. The interesting thing, I think, is the Judiciar's weapon has devastating wounds. So this is actually why someone said to me that you should put you should give him the weapon upgrade, the one that gives anti-chaos 5 up. Judiciar. His relic blade is 5 attack, strength 7 minus 2 damage. So it's basically a Blade Guard veteran sword with 2 extra strength. Each time this model destroys an enemy character model until the end of the battle. Add 1 to his attacks of the Executioner Blade. The Executioner Blade has devastating wounds and precision. Okay, alright. I mean, the Juicy Art is nice enough. I guess you can give him a 2-up save from Artisan of War, hoping that he doesn't get sniped. I haven't actually ran into too many snipers myself, but I know it does happen. Okay, so the Judiciary with Artisan of War. Lamartas, probably attached to a 10-man Death Company. A Lieutenant with a combi weapon for 70 points, and the Sanguinor. I think the Sanguinor is really interesting. I was thinking about my list and thinking that like maybe I would want to put the Sanguinor. Why does the friggin' bot still think there's a bet going on against Death Guard? God damn it, the stupid bot. Sorry. I'll see if I can disable it while we're talking. Yeah, you know, people. We talked about it this week that people thought that like maybe. I was going to say that like maybe the Centurions weren't that useful, right? But then the Sanguinor cost the same as 3 Centurions, give or take, 10 points. I get that he can score. Maybe that's why you want to take him. He can score and he can do some shenanigans, but he does seem kind of expensive for what you get. Evening, go for it, painting. How are you doing? We've got Ballistus Dreadnought. I like the Ballistus Dreadnought. I think they're totally fieldable. Just remember to, in your shooting phase, remember to attack early with it, because remember, its rerolls are only granted when the thing you're shooting at is above half wounds. It's kind of hard to always remember that. The amount of times I've shot something down to less than half wounds and then been like, shit, I still got my Ballistus Dreadnought to go. So the Ballistus Dreadnought is cool. You just need to kind of think about it early in the shooting phase. You have 6 Blade Guard, I assume attached to the Judiciary. You've got 10 Death Company, Infernal Pistols, and Power Fists. I think that's probably the best way to run Death Company, but I mean, you could probably go Plasma Pistols if you wanted to. Infernal Pistols, I think, is really sad that they're only Strength 8. They should be Strength 9 like all the other metal stuff, but it is what it is. You had 2 Death Company with Thunderhammers. I've seen a few people still run the Death Company with Thunderhammers. I don't rate them. Just because if you end up into some sort of -1 damage enemy that you suddenly only hit on 5s and you won't do very much damage at all. But, I mean, I guess if you want to run Death Company with Thunderhammers, you can run them. I think Power Fist and Infernal Pistol is much preferred for me. Oops. You've got Eradicators. Eradicators ×2, actually. Interesting choice. I mean, my problem with Eradicators is they only wound armor typically on 5s, and typically you're going to be using Eradicators to wound armor. Yes, you can reroll all your wound rolls, but rerolling wounds of 5 is still only a 55% chance. You're only getting like 4 shots out of the squad, right? So if you've got 4 shots out of the squad, and you've got to roll to hit as well, statistically a squad of Eradicators only gives you like 1.5 wounds into armor. And typically you're not going to be within range to get the melted damage. So on average, they're going to do maybe 3 wounds or something. Like, I don't rate Eradicators at the moment whatsoever. I used to run them. I ran them to tournaments last edition. I used to run Attack Bites a lot last edition. I just don't rate the Eradicators this edition at all, I'm afraid. Hellblasters. I could probably get more on board with Hellblasters, because I feel like they actually have like some purpose in the meta. I guess Hellblasters with overcharged plasma, or even not overcharged, are pretty good at killing elite-style infantry or elite-style units. Obviously not great against armor. You've got the Librarian Dreadnought in there, which is honestly probably the best Blood Angels model that we have. Death Company Dreadnought might be coming in second. How much points is the Death Company Dreadnought at the moment, actually? Because I was thinking about that. How does he compare against Centurions? Because the thing about the Death Company Dreadnought is he gets that 7-inch charge against monsters and vehicles, which is pretty useful. You've got the Vindicator. I think the Vindicators are great tanks. I think with the Oath of Moment change, these guys are still top tier for me. I guess
I have awoken.
Artist AX, thank you so much for subscribing. I think Vindicators are still top tier. I really like them. I think 2 of them is probably the sweet spot. But yeah, I think they're really good. Eradicators are sub 100 points, and I dropped them in with Librarian Dread, Target, and Forge Fiends, so I got rerolls all. Yeah, I mean, if you've got a target for the Eradicators, don't get me wrong, I guess. As long as you can target something that is toughness 9 or less, I guess I'm okay with Eradicators. The second you go into toughness 10 with Eradicators, I just think they're too swingy and I wouldn't use them. And yeah, I guess you could get in a situation where the... Well, I mean, like, I guess here's the example. I used them into a Knight's army, and Armigers are toughness 10, and Eradicators are terrible. Like I said, they're terrible into toughness 10 stuff. So if you use Eradicators into a Knight's army, they don't feel very good at all. There's a lot of Death Company. You know, for this edition, it's probably a lot of Death Company, 20. In previous editions, 20 Death Company was kind of normal, standard. And then you've got the Eviscer Assassin, who is great at killing infantry. I haven't really run Assassins much. What's the thought behind the Assassin? I know he's got like an anti-infantry 2-up or 3-up, which is pretty useful. I've been using the list I submitted a while back, and teleporting 6 Eradicators has been working insanely well for me. I don't know if did I review your list, Brew and Biscuits, if I missed it. I tried using 6 Eradicators with the biologists and the exploding stuff. I genuinely just didn't like it. But I was going into toughness 10. I did it 2 weeks ago. Okay, or I was going to say, I know I didn't do the show last week. If you caught the stream yesterday, I was saying that like I had to take my daughter to hospital like 3 times last weekend. It was a nightmare. So I wasn't live last weekend. Interesting. Okay, so what have we got for anti? I was going to say we've got a Vindicator and Ballistus. We've got the Blade Guard. I really struggle with Blade Guard this edition, actually. In that Strength 5 weaponry means that you need Red Rampage on them all the time. I like the Blade Guard's hit buff or defensive buff. I think it's really good. But I really hate the strength on their weapon. It's really poor. You tried Eradicators one time? Yeah, I did try them one time into Knights and it didn't go well. I actually asked Hellstorm Mickey on one of his streams if he thought Eradicators with the Bolt or Discipline, and he said the same thing. He thought they were swingy. And I guess the thing is, I've tried the Aggressors now with the Biologists like 3 times maybe. And those Aggressors with the Biologists just kill anything that you shoot them at. So for me, I'd rather run the Aggressors than the Eradicators. The Eviscer is a mission monkey. There's a lot of Imperial players uses. He scouts, he moves fast, and he can advance in action. Interesting. The one that I thought it would be the Calidus, because she can like redeploy every single turn and be a real action monkey as well, right? Blade Guard are only in the list because it's Sons of Sanguinius. I guess. 5 attacks per Blade Guard, 30 attacks. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go Sons of Sanguinius, you need to take things that benefit from it. So things with lots of attacks, like Death Company and Blade Guard, are probably your best bet. Death Company Dreadnoughts are pretty good. I'd probably rather take a Death Company Dreadnought over, like, Eradicators, personally. I might even take... like a second chaplain over the lieutenant with combi weapon, just because I think getting +1 to wound is super important now, and obviously CP are hard to come by, so you're always spamming CP to try and get +1 to wound. You don't have any captains in the list. So yeah, having a chaplain giving a unit like Death Company +1 to wound, I think, is really big as well. I like the chaplain and the blade guard that boosts the wound. It feels really good, says Miguel. I mean, yeah, I guess you can't deny fight first is good. But I feel like +1 to wound is probably... Because the thing about blade guard is, at least my opinion, or at least in the thing, most of the time when people go to the blade guard, you'd be surprised how well they survive. Because the second, if your opponent goes first in combat, you just activate the, I forget what it's called, Shield of the Imperium. So you save on 4s, you reroll your 1s. I'd be surprised. And blade guard are 3 wounds as well. Most weapons seem to be 2 damage, I would say, or a good portion of weapons. But my blade guard always seems to survive really well. Hey Reed, how you doing? So yeah, I'd maybe do that. Personally, I guess. All right. What did you say at the top of the list? You played this list on Saturday, or you're going to be playing it on Saturday. It's built to capitalize on the best Blood Angels units in melee for the moment. I guess that's probably the Death Company. I mean, you could argue Centurions are the best because they get the most attacks and they're the 3 damage. I mean, they're slow, but they do a lot of damage. I'm also still trying to make the Librarian Dreadnought work. I think he works really well. He literally works super well. He's the best unit we've got. I feel he has to be built around. Yeah, I mean, I agree he has to be built around. And I think heavy intercessors work really well when you're building around him. I also think intercessors actually work surprisingly well when you're building around him. I didn't really want to spend 85 points in my list for intercessors, but it does mean that you can just throw them around in sticky stuff, and I think there's value in that. I still think I prefer 3 Hellblasters, but I need to hobby them up, so it means 1 Hellblasters and 2 times 3 Eradicators. Hopefully I can be around when you review it. Yeah, I'm just not sold on Eradicators. But, I mean, like I said, I only played them into Knights, and that was probably the worst matchup for them. The worst matchup for them is going to be something that's got toughness 10 and has got an invulnerable save. And if you run into stuff that's got invulnerable saves and toughness 10, then Eradicators are going to have a bad day. So as long as you can target something that's not that, I guess it's fine. I feel like you can probably do a good bit of scoring in this list. But I do think there's a lot of value in, because I was thinking before, especially when I was building these jump intercessors, because the jump intercessors are the same points as the regular intercessors. And I was looking at the regular intercessors thinking they don't kill anything, so maybe I'm just going to take jump intercessors rather than them. But there is value in the sticky objectives, because if your opponent doesn't really have deep strike, at that point you can just move off your backfield. The difference was, like last edition, I always used to have a whirlwind sitting on the backfield objective, so it didn't really matter if I had to move out, but now I never run a whirlwind, so I never have anything that wants to sit on the backfield objective, so sticking it is not bad, and then using Librarian Dreadnought to throw people around. I think it just depends. Everything about the Librarian Dreadnought, in my opinion, is good. His melee is good. His psychic is good. His aura is good. And his focused Witchfire is good as well. There's nothing I don't like about him, I guess. Yeah, personally, I don't like running 10-man squads at the moment. I think it's too difficult to get all 10 into melee, and then I think you're too exposed afterwards. I was going to say, I feel like there's a lot of reasons in this list to have command points, right? Like, I'd want Armor of Contempt on that 10-man squad. I'd probably want Red Rampage on that 10-man squad. I'd probably want Red Rampage on the Blade Guard. Yeah, I guess it just depends, right? Depends on what you're coming up against. I'd like to know how you get on against Knights, actually, with Sons of Sanguinius, because Knights are what kind of put me off playing Sons of Sanguinius, honestly, because I just got wrecked by them and couldn't kill anything. So, Yeah. Basically, when your whole army is going to be wounding on 5s, that's a real problem. Actually, some of your army is going to be wounding on 6s because you get like the toughness 12 knights and stuff, and yeah, I guess Oath of Moment changes is going to really hurt the Sons of Sanguinius detachment. I'd be surprised if we don't see an FAQ for the Sons of Sanguinius detachment. Invuns always tend to make anti-tank spiky, says DTM. Even firing Lancers into stuff with Invuns isn't exactly consistent. Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons that I dropped my Lancer, honestly, DTM, because the Lancer has only 2 shots. And, like, when you only have 2 shots, you can statistically go through, like, an entire game. I think I went through an entire game where every single turn I shot the main Lancer's cannon at a Great Unclean One, and in every single turn I re-rolled my hits and my wounds, in every single turn he just saved them. And it's only 2 shots, statistically, if they just have to make 2 4-up saves, they can do that a few turns in a row. Devastating wounds on hammers would help on knights. Yeah, I mean, devastating wounds on hammers is nice. I don't know if I feel like, 5 Death Company hitting on 4s with rerolls to hit, so 75% hits. So you get 15 hits onto a knight. You only wound on 5s, but 6s are devastating wounds. So statistically, out of 15 hits, you're going to make like 2 or 3 5s and 2 or 3 6s. So 5 Death Company with hammers, even with like an above average roll, let's say you get 3 5s and 3 6s, probably only going to do like 8 or 10 damage to an armiger. You're not. And then the danger is that they just completely kill that unit. That's what happened when I played knights. I jumped in, I did like 20 wounds to a big knight, and then it just fell back and killed the entire squad at Death Company, even though they had -1 damage from Lamartes, and it was like a 10-man squad. Just, yeah. And yeah, the knights do less damage now, DTM, but it doesn't change the fact that we can't really do anything. We can't effectively kill them, right? And we can only play Red Rampage on 1 unit unless you're adding multiple captains to your list. Yeah, I guess I'm just not a fan of the Sons of Sanguinius detachment. I just personally don't think it's very good right now. I think the win rate tells you it's not very good right now, right? Like, it's the lowest win rate in all of 40k, I believe. I like getting lists, looking at it. I tried to make a video on it this week, but I think it's pretty difficult to optimize. I'm trying to think, the list that I looked at this week, I don't think it had any captains or anything in like that either. I was going to say, it's a real problem that I was going to say, I suppose a captain can attach to a unit that has 2 damage. The captain could attach to Sangry Guard, but no one's playing Sangry Guard because they're too expensive, right? Yeah, like, that's probably the biggest problem right now for Sons of Sanguinius, is Sangry Guard are just a bad unit that are too expensive. Because if they were reasonably costed, and you could get the like +1 strength on the charge, +1 strength on the captain, so they were strength 7 -2 damage, and then you could use Red Rampage for free. That actually doesn't sound too bad. They do get a lot of attacks in Sons of Sanguinius. It's 5 per guy. But no one's running them. Even with the points drops they did, still no one's running them, right? If the 9th edition chapter tactic took over as a Sons of Sanguinius bonus, do you think that would make the detachment more playable? Well, it would be +1 to wound and +1 to charge. I think +1 to charge and +1 to wound would be better than the +1 strength, +1 attack we have at the moment, personally. But I don't know if they'll do that. And last edition was a bit different, Robert, because the +1 attack was like Savage Echoes, which was not your. So you had your detachment rule, which was like +1 charge, +1 attack. Sorry, +1 attack, no. Your detachment rule last edition was +1 to charge, +1 to wound, and then Savage Echoes was +1 attack. So it was basically like 2 rules together, and they kind of simplified that into just one detachment rule that's not quite as good, right? Okay, let's look at list number 2 for tonight. It's a Flesh Tearers list that I've theory crafted based on what's possible in the Codex. Feel free to rip and tear it apart. Gabriel Seth. It's really sad that Gabriel Seth can literally only attach a tactical squad now. Like, he could have attached to Vanguard Veterans, gone. He could have attached to Assault Marines, gone. Now he attached a tactical squad with a Thunderhammer and a Plasma Pistol, a Multigun and a Multi-Melta. Fine, I guess. Lieutenant with a Power Fist and Plasma Pistol. I guess that gives them lethal hits and probably fall back in charge, right? You've got a Captain with a Jump Pack, with a Thunderhammer, the Relic Shield, Artisan of War. So you've got an AP3 Thunderhammer. You got 10 Sanguinary Guard, 2 Power Fists, and the rest Infernal Pistols. I mean, I guess he's going for the what I just said. Strength 7, -2, 2 damage, +1 to wound. 350 points for 10 Sanguinary Guard like that. I don't know if I feel like that's a survivable squad, and I think it's too costly still. But I guess if I was going to do it, I'd just make sure... Well, there's a captain there. Just make sure the captain is able to either Red Rampage them every turn and Armor of Contempt them every turn. Because... I feel when I played them, they were really underwhelming, and they died really, really fast. You know, Marines die generally pretty fast. The only difference between the Sanguinary Guard and a regular Marine is they got 1 better armor save. It was different a few editions ago because they had 1 more wound. I mean, maybe if they left the Sanguinary Guard where they were points-wise and gave them 1 more wound, we would see tons of them getting played. That might actually be the fix for Blood Angels right there. But I don't know. It feels like for a long time, Games Workshop have struggled to balance Sanguinary Guard. I still think they're too expensive. If they weren't too expensive, loads of people would be running them, right? But I just think they're too expensive. You got 5 Death Company with jump packs, all with Thunderhammers. Again, I think Infernal Pistols and Power Fists are better. You got 5 Desolation Marines with Super Crack and Castellan launchers. I guess they're a single squad of 5 is probably okay. You've got 3 Eradicators. You've got 5 Incursors. I like putting Incursors in the list just because they give your whole army +1 to hit against a key target if you need it. I also like their mine offensively. I think they're not bad. You got the Brutalis Dreadnought. We don't see too many Brutalis Dreadnoughts, I guess. But I mean, they can do 12 mortal wounds on the charge with Tank Shock. We just don't see it very often. We've got a Land Raider. We've got Librarian Dreadnought. The basic tactics are Gabe goes up the board in the Land Raider while the Sanguinary Guard and Death Company follow. The Librarian throws the Brutalis Dreadnought somewhere to cause havoc. Yeah, I wish you could throw the Brutalis Dreadnought to cause havoc, dude. You can only teleport infantry. That would be... I mean, how good would the Librarian Dreadnought be if you could throw units around? No, you can... I'm sure it says infantry only. Let me just tell you the exact wording. Yeah, it's an Adeptus Astartes infantry unit that you can move. So, you could put the Brutalis Dreadnought into Strategic Reserve. But yeah, I think Reziel was right. In his last list, he was saying that, like, if you're going to use Librarian Dreadnought, you need to build around him. I guess that's maybe easier said than done. But I think there is some units that really help. Razel says, I just want to try Sons of Sanguinius list for a while. It is fun so far, and my experience with several of the units different from John's ideas about them. Yeah, all I know is I have not won a single game with the Sons of Sanguinius list. I think I maybe played them for the first three weeks of 10th edition, and then I moved to Gladius and I won 10 games in a row. So I just think Gladius has got so much flexibility. And I guess the flexibility seems to always come in core, clutch, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's fine. If you like, someone did pretty well with Sons of Sanguinius last week. I don't think too many people have won tournaments with them, but some people have done okay. But yeah, my experience of playing them was they felt very, very weak. Melee feels very, very weak in general. In 10th edition, I'd say. Unless you've got something stupid like loads of lethal hits or just devastating wounds or something, but I think a big problem for me as well with the melee changes is like you lost a good general used to get like a lot of additional movement and stuff out of melee. And I guess you can't get half the movement and shenanigans that you could get before. And it makes it much more difficult. Another thing I noticed is, see, last edition, I always seem to have 2 command points available for interrupts in the combat phase and or command points for heroic interventions. And like, I feel like heroic interventions just never happen now. Literally never happen. I don't know why that is. I just feel like they never happen. And maybe that's just me, but I honestly haven't felt that I haven't felt like there's been barely any heroic interventions in the games that I've played, and I never feel like I've got 2 CP spare for heroic interventions. And I've actually stopped. Like I think you were in the stream this week, Resi. Like I literally have stopped spending CP in Overwatch, so I never ever Overwatch now. Doesn't even matter if it's like a Vindicator, not a Vindicator laser destroyer, a Vindicator tank that has like potentially 9 strength 14 hits. I just never Overwatch. It never seems to do enough damage. It never seems to be worth the command points. I mean, maybe in turn 5, you know, like maybe at the end of the game, if there was an opportunity to Overwatch in turn 5, and it's like 1 model left or something, I would Overwatch. But for the most part, in the early turns, I never Overwatch. And I never have CP available for heroic intervention. I actually looked this week, because I was like, oh, I want to heroic intervene, and I was like, damn, I only got 1 CP. So yeah, I never seem to have 2 CP for heroic intervention. I don't know if the CP, I mean, part of it might just be the CP changes. If you go back to last editions, though, think about it, right? You used to start with 12 CP, you used to get 1 per turn, so you had 17, and then there was multiple other ways to get 1, right? I feel like there was a few other ways you could get them last edition. Whereas like now, you just basically have 12, and usually when you get your final 2 in turn 5, you kind of don't need them at that point anyway. Serve Song says I'm pretty much spending them on Armor of Contempt every round. Yeah, me too. Or Smokescreen. Every round I'm doing that to make my stuff survive. And then at that point, I only have 3 or 4 to use offensively. And the second you want to do something like, I use squad tactics here and there. I might use like the Gladius's version of Oath of Moment. Gladius version of Red Rampage, which is like the it's called Honor of the Chapter. I might use Storm of Fire. I might put something into different Doctrine, and then I've got nothing left. And then yeah, Rapid Ingress as well. Yeah, I always feel starved for CP, so I feel like it's harder to move melee units around the map. It's harder to get them all into combat. It's near impossible to have CP to heroic intervene with them. So it's just negative thing upon negative thing upon negative thing for me. But hey, do you know what? I'm going to the tournament in like 3 weeks. I'm taking Gladius. So I'll either do amazing or I'll do shit, or maybe I'll do average. Who knows? I might try and get best sportsman again. Who knows? I'll have to see what lists are going on. But we talked about it a few weeks ago. I still have only played like half the armies of 10th edition, so I don't really know. There's a bunch of armies I haven't even played. Tau, haven't played Orcs, haven't played Necrons. There's a lot. Admech, not that Admech are apparently very good, but whatever. What else did he say? Desolation Squad and the Battle Predator hold the back line. What weapons do you put on the ball predator? Oh, you never told me. Okay, with the balls, Overwatch and cursors hang around the midboard objectives. Buffing gave and the Sangry Guard when they're attacking something significant. You know that the buffing from the incursors is only for shooting as well. The +1 that the incursor give doesn't benefit melee. I was gonna say, I think this list can probably work because I've been saying that I think you need 3 or 4 units of armor to be competitive this edition. I guess a Land Raider and a Brutalis Dreadnought and a Ball Predator technically is 3 or 4, and a Library Dreadnought is 3 or 4 units of armor. I'd probably want you know, I was going to say, probably want more las cannons. I'd probably be willing to drop like your Desolation Squad here and bring up like a Ballistus Dreadnought or a Gladiator Lancer or something. I'd probably, if you did that, I'd probably be willing to drop the Eradicators and add like 5 more Death Company Marines or the Chaplain. Like I mentioned, the Chaplain helps the Death Company a lot, +1 to wound. I don't know if I like Seth anymore just because he can't attach to anything exciting. Seth's a melee character. He needs to be attached to a melee unit. He kind of has the same problem as Mephiston, right? Like Mephiston's a melee character who needs to be attached to a melee unit. He gets attached to Assault Intercessors, which are like the most boring rubbish melee unit that we have, I guess. When he's on the same size base as a Blade Guard. Mephiston should attach to a Blade Guard. It's stupid that he doesn't. I guess they were thinking at the time that it was going to be too strong, him attached to Blade Guard, but they didn't realize that Blade Guard's strength 5 swords are really not that strong at all. I don't know. Okay. I was going to say, I think it's an okay list, but I'm assuming this is a Sons of Sanguinius list as well. I think you have to reserve the Brutalis Dreadnought. And yeah, the Desolation Squad and Eradicators. I think Desolation Marines are too expensive now. I think... I was going to say when they were like 140 points. I think that's how many points they were. I think they were 140 points, they were fine. Then they went to like 175 or something, and they were like, a little bit expensive now. Now they went to 200 points. I just think they're too expensive. 200 points for like 4 crack missiles and a couple, and like I guess it's 10 indirect fire shots, but they're just on toughness 4 Marines. I think you'd be much better off just having a tank. Blade Guard should be 5 to 10 models in the unit. I'm actually okay with the size of Blade Guard. I just think that it's silly that Mephiston can't attach to them. I guess because like 6 Blade Guard with Fight First is generally pretty scary. As long as you're willing to commit the Red Rampage, I think it's pretty scary. But yeah, it does feel like you have a lot less CP this edition. Even if you're throwing away missions to get CP, I still always kind of feel pretty CP starved. I'm thinking... Yeah. Surfsong says Tau scared him. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what's good with Tau at the moment, honestly. I think most of the time, though, Rezio, you probably only discard like 1 mission per game. If you're having to discard more than 1 or 2 missions per game, then you're starting to really hurt on secondary scoring, right? So realistically, you have like 13 command points per game. 14 max, and 2 of which of those command points come in turn 5 when arguably the game's kind of over. It's very rare that you need command, like, I feel like 90% of the time you don't need command points in turn 5. I wish Dante generated CP. He should be generating CP. It's stupid that he doesn't. His rule for generating CP was weak before, and they just killed it. Dante's rules are not good though. Like I don't know who's writing the Blood Angels Codex that we get in like a year's time, but Man, what I would not give to get like a half an hour with that guy, eh? And just be like, hey, can we talk about all the shit that just gets put? Because they do copy and paste things from one codex to the next, don't they? Speaking of assault intercessors, I do think the Sangre Priest should attach them. That make them a solid unit, but alas, he cannot. Yeah, I think that I think all the units attaching to this and that, I think they were worried, same as they were worried for a while with remember when like Primaris vehicles came out and like you couldn't put anything in an impulsor? I guess it was the same thing. They were worried about balance, which is really strange. Like, well, I say that, I'm assuming that they were worried about balance. That's why they did it. That's why you couldn't put, like, Centurions in a repulsor. You can now, obviously, but you couldn't. They must have been... The only reason I think they did that, because they were worried about balance, but every single edition, there's some mad balance thing where, like, you've got Eldar spewing out 1,000,000 mortal wounds in the first turn. And it was like, well, how are you worried about balance over here when you just let Eldar have unlimited mortal wounds? You know, like, it's like... Whatever. Alright, next list. It's the Blood Angels Firestorm list. This will be the first submitted Firestorm list on the channel. Okay. Let's have a look. We've got a Captain in Gravis Armor, and we've got a Lieutenant with a combi weapon. I'm going to have to look up their enhancements, because hell if I remember what Forged in Battle is. Hold on a second. Forged in Battle. Forged in Battle was, while the bearer's leading unit once per turn make a hit roll or saving throw, you can change the result to a 6. It's a once per battle, after making a hit roll or a saving throw for that model unit, you can change the result to a 6. Sorry, once per turn. Not once per battle. Why did I say once per battle? So that's twice per battle round, essentially. So in your turn, you change one of your hit rolls to a 6. In your opponent's turn, you change one of your saving throws to a 6. He said that they're going to be attached to the aggressors. Okay. And then he's got Adamantium Mantle, which is each time an attack is allocated to the bearer, subtract 1 from the damage. If that attack is made with a Melta or a Torrent weapon, that damage characteristic is changed to 1 instead. Okay, so this Lieutenant... I'm not sure I feel that that's all that valuable, but maybe. You subtract 1 to incoming damage on the Lieutenant, because he's already got... I feel like he's already got Lone Operative, but... okay. You've got Heavy Intercessors times 2, cool. You've got the 6-man Aggressors. You've got the Assault Intercessors with Jump Backs, or the Jump Intercessors, as I guess we're calling them. We've got another squad of Jump Intercessors. We've got the Ballistas. We got Eradicators times 2. We got Inceptors times 2 with Bolters. We got Librarian Dreadnought. We got an Executioner times 2. I was going to say they should have the Heavy Laser Destroyer on them. They do. And then we've got a Scout Squad. I haven't actually read the profile for Scouts. Are Scouts good now? I must have skipped over them when I was looking through the new codex. Just, I guess because the new models aren't out, I just didn't even look at the Scout Squad. At the end of your opponent's turn, if this unit is 6 inches away from all enemy models, you can put it in strategic reserve, so they get a free guerrilla tactics. That's what Scouts get. The Sergeant's bolt gun can be replaced with a chainsword. Any number of models can have their bolt gun replaced with the combat knife and the shotgun. Or the following, one combat knife or a shotgun. Okay. Shotgun is attacks 2, 18 inches, strength 401. For every 5 models, 1 scout can have a sniper rifle. Fine. For every 5 models, 1 sniper can have a scout can have a heavy bolter missile launcher. I mean, I guess the scouts are okay. They're nothing really that special. What's he got here? A missile launcher, bunch of bolt guns. They have infiltration. They have scout 6-inch move, and then they have free guerrilla tactics. I mean, I guess action monkeys are pretty good, right? If you think Voidsmen are 50 points, I guess if you've got the extra 5 points, I guess scouts are better than Voidsmen now. unless anyone disagrees. I mean, Voidsmen are OC2, but they are T3, and they don't really do any killing, right? DTM's right. If you give one of the scouts the shotgun, you can always advance and do actions as well. Yeah, 55 points for a scout squad is good then. 2 executioners is good, in my opinion. Librarian Dreadnought is good. I like having 2 squads of Inceptors, dropping them down anywhere the hell you want, teleporting them later with Librarian Dreadnought. I'm not sure I love the 2 squads of Eradicators, but we've already talked about that this stream. Aggressors. You know what? Eradicators are better, though, in Firestorm, right? Because they're strength 10, assuming you're within 12 inches. I guess you're right, Firestorm doesn't need the shotgun because they're all assault. Each executioner has a squad of 3 Eradicators in it. That's interesting. The lieutenant with combi is sitting in the backfield objective, giving rerolls to the center objective. And then the captain is attached to the aggressors, which I guess he's going to be teleporting the aggressors and the captain with the Librarian Dreadnought. So 2 repulsors and a lancer. Sorry, 2 repulsors and a ballistus. I actually kind of like this list. Strength 6 Inceptors when they drop in. Strength 10 Eradicators when they get teleported in. Jump Intercessors, fine, I guess, right? Has anyone actually ran Jump Intercessors yet? Has anyone been using them? Has anyone felt like they're worth it? Each time this unit ends a charge move, select one enemy with an engagement range of it, then roll a d6 for each model unit that is within engagement range of that enemy. For a 4-up, that enemy suffers 1 mortal wound. They went back to the old wording of that rule, and I think the old wording is a lot weaker than the newer wording. So realistically, your 5 jump intercessors, maybe 3 or 4 get an engagement range, so you do a couple of mortal wounds, and then you just have basically 4 chainsword attacks per guy, -1, 1 damage, and the sergeant has power fist. Maybe like a hand flame or something. Jump Intercessor seems solid for 85 points. Yeah, in my list, I can't decide because I have a squad of regular Intercessors, DTM. The thing about the regular Intercessors is I can sticky an objective and then teleport them off. But yeah, for the same points, I'm trying to work out if sticking an objective and then teleporting away is worth more than a couple of mortal wounds on the charge and I guess like 20 chainsword attacks. I think the 20 chainsword attack sounds better because regular intercessors don't really do any damage. Yeah, okay. Do you know what? At some point in the future, I'm gonna try play some Firestorm. This seems like an interesting Firestorm list. Someone else submitted a Firestorm list, and I think probably for the next couple of months or something, or at least the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be doing videos on the different detachments and the different combos within those detachments. So I like double executioner, so I do like it. I think it's just the toughness 12. I've played a few games now, quite a few games with toughness 12 units, and having toughness 12 units is, for the most part, they're very, very durable. Even toughness 11 is really durable, because I run Vindicator tanks, and they're crazy durable at toughness 11. If you start Armor of Contempting and smoking, like toughness 12, toughness 11 stuff, it's kind of insane, actually. If you're running the Librarian Dreadnought, I'd say either works. Yeah, I mean, I think the Librarian Dreadnought gives a real interesting option for a list like this with Eradicators and stuff like that. Just being able to put them down anywhere you want and make them strength 10. Surfsong says, I don't know toughness 12 because all my melee is strength 9 and all my shooting is strength 14. Yeah, I mean, sure. But for a lot of enemies, that isn't the case, I feel like. Hey, James, good afternoon. How are you? I was surprised that the Rogue Trader entourage gets Infiltrate, and the attached Voidsman Breachers get it too. It's a bit pricey, but good weapons and nice for a D3 battle line unit redeploy. Yeah, I I don't know. I haven't been running attached units to Voidsman and stuff. I guess the problem with that is you can't play strats on them. I actually think that Scout Squad is good for 55 points. It's got Infiltrate, it's got a Scout move of 6-inch, it's got free guerrilla tactics, it's got basically the ability to advance and do actions, it's got toughness 4. Yeah, for 55 points, I think it's pretty fine. What size base are those new scouts on? Like, if you have scouts, because I definitely do have scouts. Does anyone know what size base? Why are they not running 3 plasmas with the jump intercessors? Can you run as many as 3 plasmas in that squad? Really? I don't think you can you? For every 5 models in the unit, 1 heavy bolt pistol can be replaced with a plasma pistol. The sergeant's chainsword can be replaced. The sergeant's heavy bolt pistol can be replaced. Okay, so you can run 2 plasma pistols. Why? How do you get 3? From my understanding. Jump intercessors get 1 plasma on the sergeant and 1 more. Yeah. So how are you getting 3? Is that a typo? But you know, I like the 55 point scout squad. I like repulsor executioners. I guess in this list it's pretty interesting putting the Eradicators inside. The app says you can. Oh, I guess cool. Don't trust the app. That will let you have 3 if it's a 10-man squad. Ah, right. That's a good point. Yeah. So these are only 5-man squads. So you're not allowed 2. Yeah. I mean, I guess the thing about the assault intercessors with jump packs is what's strong is getting them into melee range gives you those mortal wounds. The issue with the mortal wounds is you have to be in engagement range. So the new scouts are in 28.5. I assume the old scouts were in 25 mil. Is that right, Rez? Do you know? Do I need to convert scouts? I'm going to check Wikipedia. It's been a little while since I've been to Wikipedia. They do have the 10th edition lists. The old scouts were 25, yeah, so they just made that awkward, have they? So I'm going to need to find base extenders for 0.3 of a mil. The thing about Wikipedia is they used to show you on here the base size. Oh, what the hell is this? Alternative models. Wow. Protectors of Humankind, huh? Look like something out of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. I guess this is new. This is why Games Workshop needed to put the rules for all the new models in the app so people aren't using Wikipedia. Apparently Wikipedia... Oh, look, here it is. 32mm, for example. Apparently Wikipedia are just going to friggin' advertise or sell third-party models right on the site now. That's great. I mean, I can't really complain. I use the site all the time. But yeah, okay. I guess for the Scout Squad, they haven't put the size there. And I guess that squad either. So sometimes they put the size, I guess. I was going to say, I normally buy base extenders on eBay. Let me see. Base extenders 25mm to 28.5mm. Let's see if someone's made them already. No effort base extenders. Yeah, they already exist. These are the exact ones that I bought before. No effort. Winterdyne commissioning. I think he's changed the image. There you go. So if you wanna buy and convert your scouts to the new size. Use your old scouts. It'll cost you. I was going to say how many scouts. That's 10. So I guess if you want to convert like 20 models, I'm trying to think how many scout squads I think I had. I think I had 6. Because I think you needed to run 2 detachments. So I guess it would cost you like $10. I'm actually going to save that link. Because I'll just buy some basic extenders, and I'm not buying new scouts. I kind of hate the scout models, so I'm just gonna put my I'm just gonna save that eBay link. Cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna put my old scouts on the new base size with base extenders. Okay. Yeah, if you're ordering anything from Russia at the moment, expect delays, I guess. Or maybe even, I mean, maybe it's not even Russia. I mean, the whole world's gone to the hell at the moment. I guess you just expect delays if you're ordering stuff from anywhere at the moment. Alright, final list for today. This is Todd's list, and he's a Firestorm Assault list as well. Okay, cool. We get two. We get two Firestorm lists today. Okay, so he's got the Apothecary Biologist with Forged in Battle. Forged in Battle is another one I'm not going to remember off the top of my head. I won't remember it until I've played the list a bunch of times, to be honest. Still forget the stupid Gladius ones, I'm sure. So Forged in Battle for Firestorm is... Oh, that's the automatically get a roll of 6 for a hit and automatically take a save on 6. I love this take a save on 6. I think that's really going to be really strong. Especially if you attach it to like a bunch of aggressors. Like you hit the aggressors with a las cannon, boom, I'm just going to auto save. You got the Gravis Captain, you got a Chaplain with a jump pack. You know, this Chaplain with a jump pack can replace his bolt pistol with a power fist. I think that's way better. I don't think there's ever a reason to have a bolt pistol on a Chaplain. I mean, meh. It's literally a bolt pistol. I think the power fist is a much better option. Oh, excuse me. I was up early today. We got aggressors. We got Ballistas. We got the Centurion Assault Squad with, I was going to say with Meltaguns. Meltaguns would make a lot of sense in the Firestorm attachment. We got Death Company with Hand Flamers. Hand Flamers become interested in the Firestorm detachment because you can get +1 to strength. Then you can get +1 to wound. Then you can give torrent weapons like, devastating wounds on 6s. So, I don't know if you'd have enough CP to do all that. But, hey Todd, how you doing? I don't know if you'd have enough CP to do all that. But yeah, Hand Flamers actually become kind of interesting in the Firestorm detachment. Just because, like, a lot of things, I was going to say synergize with them. I did a video on this, but it's like, yeah, for 2 CP, torrent weapons have devastating wounds. So I guess like if you actually manage to get all 10 Hand Flamers in range, then every 6 to wound obviously would be dev wounds. You can also get, I think it's Crucible of Battle. I actually had a question about Crucible of Battle. In your shooting phase, 1 unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot, until the end of the phase, each time the model makes an attack that targets the closest target within 6 inches, add 1 to the wound roll. So you'd have to do that slow roll, right? So for every model... So if half the guys were 6 inches away from the closest eligible and half the guys were 7 inches away, the 6 that were the 5 that were closest would get +1 to wound because it would be on a model by model basis, right? Crucible of Battle. I assume it would be played by that. Each time a model unit makes an attack that targets the closest eligible unit within 6 inches, Add 1 to the wound roll. I assume it's model by model. Someone tell me, Crucible of Battle. Is it model by model? You got the 6-man Eradicator squad. What did he say that the Biologist goes with the Eradicator, the Gravis Captain goes with the Aggressors for the free 2 CP strat, giving the devastating wounds to the Flamers. Alright, cool. So the Flamers here are getting dev wounds from the Aggressors. I hadn't considered that. The Eradicators are going in the Land Raider. You got double Inceptors with the Plasmas. I guess the Plasmas become more strength as well. It's kind of good. You got the Redemptor. I think the Land Raider Redemptor's... Sorry, the Redeemer. The Land Raider Redeemer is probably the best one to have in this detachment because, you know, your Flamers have more strength. Everything is Assault. You got Librarian Dreadnought to move units around. You got a Thunderstrike. P.S. The Chaplain should have the Power Fist and Infernal Pistol. Okay. I don't know if the Chaplain can have a Power Fist and Infernal Pistol. I think he can have a Power Fist and a Crozius, or an Infernal Pistol and a Crozius, but I don't think he can drop the Crozius. I'll tell you. I've got the codex right here. Maybe they changed it, or maybe the wording's changed. I'm actually surprised, like, Chaplains with jump packs, I suppose it's because it's got that, it's got the picture of the Blood Angels Chaplain with the jump pack, doesn't it? It's like the one Blood Angels picture in the whole codex, huh? His bolt pistol can be replaced with, yes, so you can't replace this Crozius, so he's stuck with that. And you replace his bolt pistol. But I think the Crozius plus Fist is my choice because that gives you a Power Fist, which obviously in this, for the most part, I think the Power Fist is just better than the Crozius, more AP and more strength, and most of his damage is going to come from melee. These Firestorm lists are looking pretty spicy, aren't they? Like, Eradicators become really good, Inceptors become really good, the Redeemer becomes really good. I guess the Thunderstrike probably is actually quite good in here because everything's getting +1 strength, so everything's getting +1 to wound. Thanks for hanging out, Reziel. I appreciate you sending the list. Hopefully I give you something, 2 cents wise. The Aggressors with the Flamers getting Devastator wounds, the Centurions with the Meltas. You know, there's a lot to like about this Firestorm list. Obviously, I haven't played Firestorm. I'm trying to think if I have enough models to actually just flat out play this list. I suppose the only thing I don't have is a Redeemer. I have 2 regular... I've got a Land Raider and I've got a Crusader. I don't have a Redeemer. It's a little bit annoying. Who would have thought that the Redeemer turns out to be the one that's super meta and that people want to do? Thunderstrike probably likes the Assault keyword to get angles wherever it wants. I just think that there's going to be so many weapons that get, you know, like, because your Eradicators are strength 10 now. So, potentially with, like, Eradicators, if they're getting +1 to wound, suddenly your Eradicators are wounding on 3s. So, when you're re-rolling all wound rolls, Eradicators become really interesting. Who did he attached the Biologists to the Eradicators. Okay, so your Eradicators have lethal hits as well in this list. I was trying to think if there's anything you could attach to give like sustained. I don't think there is. But yeah, Eradicators also love being Assault, re-rolling literally everything. Yeah, well, they get Assault, and their strength 10, and they potentially get +1 to wound from the Thunderstrike. I think we're going to see some spicy Blood Angels Firestorm lists. That's the ones that, like, on first glance, that was the one that I thought might be the strongest. I think the Iron... What the hell is it called? The Iron detachment? That's the video I was going to make this week. Someone sent me an Iron detachment, so I was going to look at the Iron Storm detachment, see if we can do some theory crafting, but definitely going to do some theory crafting on the Firestorm detachment as well. And I think we're going to have to, because... I don't think we have to, I guess, but I think there's probably more potential to win some events using the detachments from the Space Marine book rather than there is to win events using Sons of Sanguinius. Apparently, the last couple of days, GW has restocked quite a bit, and places like Element Games also finally have some of the models available that were out of stock for ages. I did notice that because I got like a second delivery from Element Games the other day. So I've got, and I think a bunch of people missed it at the start of the stream. I was showing off. I've been building these new Primaris. Oh fuck! Excuse me. I've been building these new Primaris characters. Where the hell is he? I really like them actually. I think that they're, as much as I've been very negative about the rules, or very negative about them replacing models that don't need replaced with basically the same thing, Primaris versions, the new Primaris kits are pretty nice. Don't forget that the biologists in the Forge of Battle and lethal, so those Eradicators can turn 1 miss to an auto wound once per player's turn. Also in Overwatch if you want. Oh, they can turn 1 miss into an auto wound. I suppose that is interesting for Overwatch. It's possibly more interesting for survivability. So I really like the idea of. I think Gravis units can be pretty difficult for people to deal with just because of the toughness 6, right? So yeah. Evening Crow saying, how are you doing? Firestorm is really spicy. It certainly feels like that. I think it's like aggressors, eradicators, and scepters are all really powerful in Firestorm. And a lot of people are looking at those models anyway. I'm surprised no one's like... I thought the Redemptor Dreadnought would be powerful in Firestorm, honestly. Maybe the Redemptor Dreadnought's more powerful in like the Iron Hands type one. But yeah, do you know what? I kind of want to try and build a list with 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts in it, because that was really strong last edition. They finally brought the Redemptor Dreadnought down to somewhere where I feel like he's playable. Maybe. Surfsong says he thinks the Redemptor looks great in Firestorm 2 and wants to get in close and punching and tank shocking, so putting assault on the plasma and getting in close gives you a strength 10 plasma. Yeah, the plasma was better than it was last edition as well, because last edition it was just D6, where it's D6 plus 1 now. My theory crafting for Firestorm has started with a pair of them. Surfsong, send me your Firestorm list. Send me whatever you've got in Discord. I want to... I was going to say, it's probably going to be... Yeah, there's going to be a lot of theory crafting videos coming out from me, I guess, in the next few weeks. So if any of you guys have really spicy army lists that you want to send me, that we could like theory craft, we can get them on the army list show. Well, not even get them on an army list show, just get them on Friday Tactics show. Start talking about army lists. I'm trying to decide, like, I can't play this week because I've got tickets for the football. So I only have like 2 weeks more games before I go to the tournament. I don't think I'm going to change too much of my list before I go to the tournament. It has won 10 games in a row because Colin cheated on... well, he didn't cheat. Apparently he can't remember how many command points he has when we played on Wednesday night, so I would have won the game. But I might make one small tweak. I think I am going to run Gladius to the GT I'm going to next month, but I think after that I'm going to start experimenting. And Codex releases seem pretty slow this edition, right? Because I feel like they kind of promised a few more codexes. Maybe I'm wrong, but they do seem a bit slower. We've had the edition for like 4 months and we've only seen 2 codexes. Yeah, Colin can't count his command points. It's fine. Do you know what? Making me think that I'd lost the game is good, because it made me reevaluate a lot of things on my list. But yeah, apparently he spent 2 CP in turn 5 when he only had 1. So, and one of them basically saved him 5 victory points. So I mean that That is what it is. I texted him and I was like, "You're an idiot to make." I was going to say like, pay more attention to how many command points you have in the future, please. Yeah, he overwatched my heavy intercessors, which was his only command point in turn 5 DTM, and then he re-rolled the save where I killed this character with a command point that would have given me 5 victory points, and obviously would have won the game at that point. So he'd already used his command point for the Overwatch. He forgot to take it off. I guess it was the problem is we start at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So normally that we're having our like turn 5 is usually like 11:30 at night. I don't know about you, but at 11:30 at night I've got about 2 brain cells that still work. So we track them in the app, but we need to track them on the table as well. I think we'll start doing that because it's not the first time I think that an extra command point has screwed me. It's funny that I never make the mistake. I never fuck up and get extra wins. It's just the people I play against apparently can't count their command points. I think they're just sloppy. Like, but it is late at night when we finish our game, so what we need is an independent adjudicator that'll come down, watch the games. That can be anyone that wants to come down. Just I live in the middle of nowhere, which is the problem. Alright guys, enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope at least something I said was useful. If you do have any spicy lists, any detachments that I've not thought about or anything like that, send it over to me. I'll try and make some, I was going to say I'll try and make some videos. I make videos every week. I'll definitely be making a video this week. If there's any spicy army lists, any combos that you've figured out, anything you're going to try, I'd love to see it. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to change too much on my list before I go to this tournament. But yeah, so we normally track the CP on the computer when we're streaming, but sometimes I think we should track it on the table as well, Darren, because we do make mistakes. Actually, I'm attempting to make a Vanguard/Furnace Company list. You know what? I looked at both those detachments and didn't seem that impressed, Phoenix. So send me what you come up with, and we'll see if it's worthy of making a video and get it on the channel. But all right, I need to take off. Thanks so much for watching. No live game this Wednesday night. I'm probably just going to be finishing making my my jump intercessors. So I should be streaming just like some hobby on Wednesday night. So if you want to come and do some hobby on Wednesday night, I'll be here. And maybe I'll see some of you guys then. So have a nice evening. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Peace.
Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.